What's up, everybody, and welcome to One Man's Opinion. And today we're doing something a little bit different, stepping away from movies and video games to enter into the world of sports. Today we're going to be looking at the old NCAA bracket. I'm going to be giving you my picks. I'll be giving you my reasons for the picks, and hopefully we'll move through this thing pretty quick. I try not to hold you up too long on any one game. We'll bounce through it, and I'll tell you kind of why I made the picks that I did. I didn't get to watch as much of this season as I would have liked to, so it's probably a lot that I missed. But I tried to do my research before I filled it out. I've got a little piece of paper over here where I've made notes why I made the picks that I did, and I'll try to, as best a reason as I can as to why I made the picks that I did. Up first, and I know that my little box is in that bottom left corner, so when I'm on this left side, I'll try to keep it scrolled up for you. Also, how does the new mic sound? Am I right? Yeah, it's crisp. That's the good stuff right there. It should have been a radio DJ or something. All right, here we go. Definitely Gonzaga right off the bat. I don't feel like I need to explain that a whole lot. Gonzaga's undefeated. I don't think they're actually as good as everyone's making them out to be. I think their schedule is very, very weak, and the only team that they've really beaten recently is BYU. I think BYU is kind of gun-shy against them. I think they got like a mental block. They've been beaten so many times by them, I don't think they can get by them. They had them beaten in that tournament, the championship game. I can't remember what crap conference that is, but they had them beat for the majority of the game, and just Gonzaga got hot at the end and came back and won it. And I know Gonzaga had some good wins toward the beginning of the season, but a lot of those teams have gotten a lot better now. So I'm iffy on Gonzaga. Everybody's talking about them being the team of destiny and that they're going to go all the way. I'm not so sure about all that. Next up, we got Oklahoma, Missouri. I wanted to go Missouri here. Missouri they're a solid team. They're good, but they're not great. Oklahoma has some more impressive wins. I think they're a better squad all around. So Oklahoma is going to be the pick here. Creighton and UCSB. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, the 5 picks at the 5 seed in this tournament are not real good. I don't think they are. And there's a lot of seeding issues, I think, in this tournament. And I know COVID kind of messed things up. A lot of seasons were up in the air. Some people would cancel games, and I know it was a mess of a season. So, I know it was probably hard for them to get the seeding and everything correct anyway. But Creighton is shaky. In a horrible conference, they're shaky. They're not even super consistent in a horrible conference. UCSB isn't in a good conference, but they're very consistent. Looking at statistics, looking at the teams and everything, I think UCSB is the better squad here. And I've got them beating number 5 Creighton right here. And so that may be a crazy pick. There's your bracket buster, I guess. But I don't know if that, even with Creighton being there, I don't know if you would consider that a bracket buster. But Virginia and Ohio. Virginia's been such like a mixed bag this season. COVID's affected them, and they've been destroyed in some games and then, won others. And, they've been a very mixed bag that I actually considered taking Ohio here, but I couldn't pull the trigger on it. I had to keep that scrolled up so you can see. I had to go Virginia here. Next up, USC versus Wichita State or Drake. I'm definitely going USC over either one of those teams there. That's pretty easy. Kansas, Eastern Washington. Kansas is hot. They're hot. They're playing really good ball right now. I really like Kansas a lot. I know they didn't have like the best beginning to their season, but they're playing really good right now, and I've got a lot of faith in Kansas. Oregon and VCU. Let me run it down a little bit. Oregon and VCU. We're going Oregon. Oregon has a very good scoring squad. I think they're better than their record shows, but I still wouldn't consider them like a great team. I think they should have done better in the Pac-12 tournament. I was kind of let down by them. I think they're a better team than what they've shown, but I still wouldn't say they're a great team or anything, and I don't think that they've got what it takes to upset Iowa, who is going to beat Grand Canyon. And I think we'll do this by quadrants. So I think we'll go back up to the top here. We've got Gonzaga and Oklahoma. Like I said, Oklahoma's a good team. They've won a few good games that were kind of like, oh, wow, that's an impressive win. But I don't think they quite have the stuff to take down Gonzaga. Again, I don't think Gonzaga's perfect, but they do have a really good squad. UCSB and Virginia, I really wanted to just bracket bust this thing with UCSB and be, that be the team that, causes pandemonium and really puts the madness in March Madness. But at the end of the day, I couldn't pull the trigger. I think Virginia, even though we don't really know what we're getting with Virginia, I think Virginia is solid enough, and they play a difficult schedule. They're a little more ready for this kind of tournament, I think, than UCSB. So moving on, USC, Kansas, and I will check my notes here. I know who I got winning. I still got Kansas moving on. Like I said, I like them a whole lot. I think Kansas is really good. USC is pretty good, but I just don't think they've got enough stuff to really stop Kansas here. Iowa and Oregon. Again, Oregon, another team that I like quite a bit, actually. But I don't think that they've got what it takes to really stop Iowa. Iowa's got a good squad, and Iowa's got that center, Garza. That dude is a monster. Now, going into the Elite Eight, we've got Gonzaga, whatever. We got the Zags going up against Virginia. Let me make sure that I didn't do something crazy here. I did not. Okay, Gonzaga is going to beat Virginia. I just, and it wouldn't surprise me. If Virginia beat Gonzaga, it's one of those games where, like, yeah, I could see that happening, but we just don't know enough about Virginia, or at least I don't, to really be comfortable having them pull a big upset or anything like that. And which is why I think they're a 4 seed, is because even the committee was like, we don't know what to do with these guys. Gonzaga moves on, and then I've got Kansas over the number 2 Iowa here, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Kansas is really hot. They're playing really good basketball right now, and I think they've got the stuff to not only beat Iowa, but to upset Gonzaga. Gonzaga has not played this level of competition yet. Their conference is weak. I don't believe in this Gonzaga team. Everyone's hyping them up too much. They haven't lost a game. They're talking about it's the team of destiny. They're going to be the first ones to go undefeated since, what was it, like 78 or some crap. I don't see it. I don't think they're that good. I watched BYU play them, and I watched BYU just put it on them for a while. Now they've got some shooters. What is his name? Crisper? That dude's crazy. I hope I'm not mixing that up from the wrong team. I've been doing a lot of research today. There's a lot of names going around in my head right now. Crisper's a player. He's a baller. And they've got several really good players, but I don't know. I've got a feeling about this Kansas team. I think Kansas has all the pieces of the puzzle you need to beat Gonzaga. I think Kansas plays a more difficult schedule, so they're used to this kind of grind. They won their tournament, their conference tournament, and so I think if anybody's going to stop Gonzaga from getting to the Final Four, I think it's Kansas, and I think it's a reasonable pick. So we got Kansas in the Final Four, and we'll just jump straight across into the southern region over here. Baylor over Hartford, that's easy. UConn, I'm an idiot. North Carolina and Wisconsin. Now this is, to me, an interesting matchup. Let me check my notes real quick. Both of these teams were like a mixed bag. Both of them had some wins, but I think North Carolina's overall body of work impressed me a little bit more, and so I picked North Carolina over Wisconsin, and I'm not just even going to play like this was a choice. I made that choice pretty quick. Baylor will beat North Carolina, I'm pretty confident. Villanova and Winthrop, another 5-12, and I was darn close to giving it to Winthrop. I just don't believe in Villanova at all. Again, they play in a conference that's not the best, and they lost in the first round of their conference tournament. So I just, I'm not confident in Villanova at all, but Winthrop is, I looked at like a team-by-team comparison. They didn't have anything that stood out that said to me, okay, no, they have this edge and it's enough to get over Villanova. So I'm sticking with Villanova for now. And the same thing with Purdue. A lot of people are talking about Purdue and that they're really good, but everything that I've looked at, everything that I've seen from Purdue, I'm just not super impressed. Both of these teams, Villanova and Purdue, are just blah to me, and I just don't see the hype for either one of these teams. I put Purdue over Villanova just because I think Purdue has some more quality wins than Villanova, plus they're a higher seed, and if you're not sure about a matchup, go with the lower seed. I said higher. Go with the lower seed. Can't go wrong, hopefully. So Baylor and Purdue, and again, there's no suspense here because I think Baylor just has the easiest walk into the Elite Eight. I don't think any of those teams can play with Baylor. Up next, we've got Texas Tech and Utah State. Utah State's got a pretty good squad. They really do. But Texas Tech has a better squad, I think. Texas Tech, they're going to get that win. This is another game I've seen a lot of people talking about, oh, Colgate's going to upset Arkansas. I don't believe that for a second. I actually think Arkansas is really good. I've heard a lot of people talking about, how they're all scoring, but there's a lot of teams in this tournament that are all scoring. And I think Arkansas can actually outscore a lot of teams. I think you're going to be surprised where Arkansas ends up in my bracket. Florida and Virginia Tech. Boy, I went back and forth on this one for a while. Who did I end up even taking? Okay. Both of these teams had some impressive wins, and both of these teams had some losses that I thought they should have won. And so what it came down to for me, I think Virginia Tech just had a better – they had more impressive wins to me. It seemed like Florida won all the games that they should have won, but never really, maybe one or two times. Very seldom did they put together a win that was impressive. They never really beat the team that they shouldn't have beat. Florida is a team that has all the pieces. They have a lot of talent. They look really good. They're a strong squad, and it's they've got the rebounding, they've got the shooters, they've got all the pieces of a great team, but they just can't quite put it together in the games that matter, and I just don't have any faith in them. And even if they do get by Virginia Tech, I can't see them getting by Ohio State, who I'm pretty sure will also beat Virginia Tech and move on. And then Texas Tech and Arkansas, I expect this to be a really good game, but honestly, I think Arkansas outscores Texas Tech. Both teams are scoring teams, and I think Arkansas just outshoots them. And it's kind of the same thing. Arkansas and Ohio State I expect to be a really, really good game, but I've got Arkansas upsetting. I don't think many people will have this pick. I've got Arkansas upsetting Ohio State, and 3/2 in this case because of the way, maybe it's just me, but everything that I've watched since the selection show, everyone's counting Arkansas out of this tournament already, and I really think you better be careful. Arkansas's made some impressive wins. They've got some really good shooters. They can play basketball. They can play the game, and if they show up and they start hitting buckets, they can beat anybody. They were on a huge run before they got to the SEC tournament. Went down to LSU, but before they had gotten there, they had beaten LSU and Alabama, and a lot of the best teams in the SEC had lost to Arkansas going into the SEC tournament. They're a really good team, and I think they're going to surprise some people in this tournament. Okay, and then Final Four pick. Will I go Arkansas or Baylor? As good as I think Arkansas is, and I do think they're really good, I think Baylor will outscore them. I think they run into a team here that also doesn't play a whole lot of defense, but I think that Baylor's just a little bit better of a scoring team than Arkansas, and I think they've got just a few more pieces that Arkansas is missing, and that gives us our first two Final Four, Kansas and Baylor. Now moving over to the East bracket, we've got Michigan, and who the crap cares? It doesn't matter. Look, I really think Michigan is the weakest one here. I'm not sure how they got a one seed. They're not super good. I don't think they've got a lot of pieces, and they've got a center. Isn't that Michigan? Yeah, Dickinson. Yeah, Dickinson. He's the guy. That guy's great, and they've got shooters around him, and it's a really good squad. But I don't know. They've lost a few games that are head scratchers for a number one seed. I just think they're overseeded. I wouldn't have been surprised if they had a number 2 or a number 3 seed, but one seemed like too much. But I don't think they're going to have any trouble getting out of that first round. LSU St. Bonaventure. I actually think St. Bonaventure is pretty good. I looked at some of their stuff just to make sure, but LSU, they're a good team, and they've gotten better as the season has gone on. LSU's playing really good ball right now, and just barely was just right there to win the SEC title. Could have won it easily. Going on down, Colorado and Georgetown. This is another 12-5 matchup. Look, I have no faith in Colorado. A lot of people like Colorado a whole lot. I don't understand it. What have they done? They haven't really won any huge games. Maybe one or two if I remember correctly, but nothing stellar, and their conference isn't even that great. It's not like a huge conference or anything. Georgetown is playing really good ball right now. They're playing really hot, and I think that the matchup, I think Colorado might actually have the better team, all around, but I think the matchup actually favors Georgetown. They've got a couple pieces that are very strong where Colorado isn't so strong. And I think the matchup here favors Georgetown. Go in, look at some statistics for Colorado, look at some of the players, and the things that Georgetown excels at is where Colorado is very weak. And Georgetown's also, if I remember correctly, they're pretty hot right now. They're winning a lot of games, and I like that. Going into the tournament, the teams that do well are usually teams that were doing well at the end of the season. A lot of them ride this hot streak, this wave. They believe in themselves. They know that they can win, and that's all it takes a lot of the time in basketball. Basketball, there's a very mental aspect to basketball. If you don't think you can beat the other team, you will not beat the other team 99.9% of the time. I think Georgetown is in a good position up against Colorado to make a good win right here and beat another 5 seed. And you remember I said that because I don't think a lot of people have that pick either. A lot of people are riding high on Colorado. I don't fully understand it. Down to Florida State, Greensboro. Florida State. I wish I could drag that out and make it a question, and I don't think that Georgetown has the stuff to beat Florida State either. So there's Florida State beating Georgetown. I think they match up well against Colorado, but I don't think the matchup is necessarily there for Florida State. Florida State moves on. BYU, UCLA, MSU. Look, I looked at this for a while. Michigan State has always been a really good tournament team. I've always liked Michigan State, but boy, their season just has been a nightmare. And I don't even know if they'll get by UCLA, but I don't think either one of them can beat BYU. BYU's playing really good basketball. I just think they have a mental block against Gonzaga. I think they just have a mental block. I think other than that, they're actually a really good squad. I think they can play with most other teams in this tournament. So BYU moves on. This is not a question. Texas is playing great basketball right now. They're really good. I like Texas a lot. They'll be playing against BYU. UConn and Maryland. Who did I pick in this trash game? Let's see. UConn, Maryland. Okay, I took UConn. And I can't remember why, but I think, to be honest with you, UConn and Maryland, I don't think either one of these teams are super good. If I remember right, I think UConn had a little bit better, a resume, if I remember correctly. But Alabama's going to beat Iona. Everybody's talking about Rick Pitino. I don't care. Alabama's going to beat Iona. And then Alabama is going to beat UConn. I'm very confident. Alabama's got a lot of talent this year. They're looking really good, SEC title winners. And they're going to make a run in this tournament, I'm pretty sure. Back up, I left this one blank because Michigan and LSU, that's going to be a ball game. Michigan and LSU is going to be a really tight ball game, and if you picked LSU to win here, I wouldn't blame you. I don't think they quite have the right pieces, unless I'm mistaken. They don't quite have the right pieces to beat Michigan, who is a really good team. They do have a lot of good assets. I do think they're a very weak number one, but I think they're just good enough to get by LSU, who's playing really good basketball right now. And if you took LSU over Michigan in this game, I couldn't blame you at all. Michigan, Florida. Well, let's drop down. Let's do BYU, Texas. I think this will be a really good ball game. BYU's got some talent, but I think Texas is an all-around, they're a great team. Back up to Michigan and Florida State. Michigan and Florida State, I think this is where Michigan stumbles. Florida State is not the best team in the bracket. They're not amazing, but depending on which Florida State team shows up, they have a lot of talent and they can do a lot of really good things on the court. They've got a good squad. And I just don't believe in them. I just don't believe in Michigan, and I think they're going to stumble somewhere. And if I was going to pick where they're going to stumble, I believe it'll be right here against Florida State. It may be against LSU, but it doesn't matter. If I'm being honest with you, Texas, Alabama, I think these are the two best teams in this bracket, and I think whoever wins here goes to the Final Four. And I went back and forth on this for a while. Looking at the teams, they match up really well with each other. I think Alabama just has a slight edge. Alabama's really deep, and they play really solid defense, and I think that's the exact same reason why they're going to beat Florida State. Now, Alabama does turn the ball over a little bit more than Florida State does, but I think because of the depth of the bench and because of the defensive play and then all the talent that Alabama has, I see Alabama making it to the Final Four. Out of this region, I think this is going to be a hard-fought region because there's a lot of teams that could make it. I think LSU could make it to the Final Four. I really do. Even if they met Alabama, I think, it's a one-point game last time they met. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder. LSU could be in the Final Four out of this. Michigan could make the Final Four out of this. Florida State could make the Final Four. I think Texas could make the Final Four. I think that whoever wins Texas-Alabama will. If you had to back me into a corner, I think that's the key matchup. Let me scroll up a little bit so you can see that one right there. That's going to be your key matchup for this corner of the bracket. I'm pretty sure whoever wins that game is going to the Final Four, but I like Alabama just a little bit. All right, guys, we got one more corner to go. What do we got here? Midwest. All right, Illinois. Let's not even pretend. This one too, Georgia Tech. I looked at this. Georgia Tech's got a good squad. I was like, okay, Loyola, they're an 8 seed. Let's see what they got. I wasn't super impressed. They're not in a good conference. I think Georgia Tech's got what it takes. They're going to win that game. But as much as I would love to hype Georgia Tech right here because I love a good upset, there's no way they're beating Illinois. Illinois is going to dance on. Number 5, Tennessee, and number 12, Oregon State. Oregon State will beat Tennessee here. Tennessee is a team that just, again, they're really good, but they never had that eye-popping win to me, really. There just wasn't a whole lot that said, you know what, no, this team, they've got it. They're going to make a run. And Oregon State, they're your Pac-12 champions. They're really hot right now. And now, look, I think Tennessee could win this game. They very well may, and this may be a stupid pick for me. Of all of them so far, I think this is the one that I might get the most flack for. And I know I've picked a lot of 12s over a lot of 5s. I think I've only got one 5 beating a 12, and that's kind of wild. And it probably won't happen that way. Statistically, likely it won't. But I think Oregon State's playing really solid ball right now. I think they're just really they're playing really good ball. And Tennessee, they've won some good games, but they've not won any great games. And I think they've got a really good squad, but I don't think it's quite good enough. I think Oregon State's going to win here. Oklahoma State's getting an easy win right there over Liberty. A lot of people are talking about that game. I don't see it. Personally, I don't see it. It doesn't matter. Oklahoma State's really good, and they're also riding a hot wave right now. Oklahoma State going to get that win. And then Oklahoma State and Oregon State are going to play, and I think Oklahoma State is a better team than Tennessee. And I think that they will put a stop to Oregon State's hot streak. They're going to go on to play Illinois. But, guys, I've got news for you. Illinois is going to be hard to beat. It's going to be hard for anybody to beat Illinois. They've got all the pieces of a great team. They're playing really good basketball right now. I'm not saying that they're going to win it all. Not yet. Maybe I will. But I'm saying of the field, they're probably the team that I would say they've got everything. They play in a strong enough conference. They've got all the good wins. They're playing really good. They're hot right now. They've got star players. They've got all the pieces. And so Illinois is a dangerous team in this tournament, and they're going to march on. San Diego State and Syracuse. San Diego State, another one of those teams a lot of people are talking about. Syracuse is flying under the radar. They're always good in the tournament. They've had a couple bad years in the past, I know. But see, watch out for Syracuse in the tournament. I'm telling y'all, Syracuse has got exactly what they need to beat San Diego State. I'm telling you, the matchup is tailor-made for Syracuse. You're getting an 11 over a 6 right here. You can put that in stone. I guarantee you. I could be wrong. I'm going to be eating these words. But I'm pretty confident. That we're going to have Syracuse go over San Diego State. West Virginia, Moorhead, I'm sorry. You're not going anywhere. And I think Syracuse is really underrated. I think Syracuse is a really good tournament team. I know West Virginia is really good. I know they've got some good wins on their resume. But I'm telling y'all, Syracuse, they're gonna make some noise in this tournament. Not a whole lot of noise. They're not gonna tear down the house or anything, but they're gonna make a little racket. They're gonna throw some trash cans over. They're gonna kick and scream a little bit, I think. Clemson and Rutgers. Clemson is gonna win that game. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I don't think either one of these teams are just fantastic. Clemson's kind of been a roller coaster up and down. They've got some good wins. They've also got some bad losses. I think Clemson's a better team than Rutgers. then Rutgers, and I think Clemson will get that win. Houston, yeah, they're gonna win there. I think they're gonna win pretty easy here, and I think they blow by Syracuse. Houston is running all the way to meet Illinois' 1 and 2 matchup in the Elite Eight, and I'm not going to say that they're going to get there easy. You know, West Virginia may be there to meet them over Syracuse, but I'm pretty confident that nobody is stopping Houston from getting to the Elite Eight. They're playing some good ball right now, but their conference isn't crazy good, and so, you know, maybe the competition will catch up to them. We get here to Houston and Illinois, and I just do not believe that Houston has what it takes to knock Illinois off. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll keep it toward the top. We have our Final Four. Starting with Kansas and Alabama, this matchup is very, very similar. They've got a lot of the same pieces. These teams are similar in a lot of ways. Both of them are conference champions, and I went back and forth for a while. It's one of those things where you guys know I'm an Alabama fan. I'm not trying to hide it, and I'm really not trying to be biased. I know that's difficult to do, but I'm legitimately trying not to be biased with Alabama. But I think they have favorable matchups in this tournament, and I think they have the right stuff to just keep winning until they run into a team that's just better than they are. And I don't think that Kansas is that team. Again, I think Alabama has more depth on the roster. I think we can outscore Kansas. I think we've got what it takes, and I think Alabama is going to be playing for a natty. Over on the other side, Baylor's pretty good, but they are a scoring team. I don't see a whole lot in the way of defense from Baylor. I'm also not like real big into their conference. I think Illinois plays a tougher schedule with more impressive wins. I think they have a better squad. I think they are more complete offense and defense. They've got somebody at every position that can scare you, and Illinois is going to march on. And then we have Illinois versus Alabama. And I'm going to be honest with you, looking at this game, if this game were to happen, I think Alabama can play with them. I think that they give them a run for their money, but I'm just not sure that Alabama has what it takes to finish off Illinois. And I think Illinois is going to be your national champion at the end of this March Madness bracket. That's my pick so far. I haven't really given a lot of thought to the tiebreaker and the final score. It's probably going to be a pretty high-scoring game. I would say probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, let's say, 78. No. Maybe give Alabama right around, we're going to go 81, 85. Somewhere in there is what we're going to be looking at. And yeah, so that's it. Have you filled out a bracket yet? Let me go ahead and close this thing out. Have you filled out your bracket yet? If so, who do you have winning it all? Drop down in the comments. Be sure to let me know what you guys think about the tournament. What did you think about my picks? I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of like red flags, and probably a lot of you that pay more attention to the college basketball season. This year I just wasn't able to as much. I could be very wrong about a lot of these picks, but I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know who you've got. What you think about the video? Am I an idiot? Let me know down in the comments. As always, please, if you're not an Alabama or an Illinois fan, don't get mad. Remember, this is just one man's opinion. Thanks.